so maybe you're gonna show him about your cars, what you're doing here. You say before season you maintain cars.
Yep, yeah. The shop is a mess.
RB26.
This one is actually, it's RB30 engine. So it's RB30 block from Australia with a RB25 cylinder head. We run the 26 covers. The engine actually has a dry sump system on it, so there's no normal RB problems with the oil wanting to spill out the top. Everything is all contained, everything stays clean and nice. This engine does 800 wheel horsepower and like 710 foot-pounds torque, so it's super competitive with FD. The Achilles tires, we run the 285 size in the back, so the car has just insane grip.
285, yes?
Yeah, 285.
And you're also using
we use uses a 150 horsepower shot for nitrous to spool the turbo. Yep. The turbo running, it's Garrett's Gen 2. It's a 4088 GTX. So it's pretty big size. A little slow to come on for the engine, but the nitrous takes over for that and makes the power like almost immediately. So the car drives almost like a V8 car, but still spins out to 8,200. 8,200,
yes. And do you use winters?
Yeah, winters, quick change, and then we have G-Force GSR dog box.
Oh, dog box.
Yep.
Because I saw some guys from Lithuania, there are some Sonos sequential dog box.
Yeah, there's a few people here in the States running it as well. I've driven 1 or 2 cars with sequential, but I'm just more comfortable with the H pattern still.
So how many gears you have your dog box?
This one's just 4-speed.
4-speed just only?
Yeah.
And you just only choose a right reduction. What is the biggest entry speed in the States?
I think the fastest one is Atlanta. It's about 100 to 107 miles an hour. For the faster guys are a little higher.
100, okay. It's 170 kilometers per hour. Yes?
Around there, yeah. Yeah, so between 160s and 170Ks. And that's just big entry, you kind of scrub speed there. The rest of the track is pretty slow. Another fast track is Irwindale's pretty quick, but I think that's maybe 110 kilometers or so.
So it's enough for your dog box for just only changing the ratios.
Correct, yeah. We usually try and gear the car to run 4th gear as much as we can. If there's a slow part of the track and we have to downshift, we want it to be just kind of straight shot rather than have to cross to 2nd or anything. So sometimes I run like I think St. Louis this year we ran like a 512 gear in the back, so super high gear, so that way the total car speed was like 115 miles an hour, very slow, but it had a slow entry and then downshift into 3rd kind of scenario. So we wanted to make sure we didn't have too much wheel speed, because we have to get the tires to make sure they run 2 full laps. And some of the tracks you barely get, 1.5 laps out of before you start feeling all the grip is losing.
What do you usually use pressure on your tires? Like, because you say 2 or 4 laps.
It depends on the track. This year is my first year with Achilles on the Pro car, so it was a big learning curve. They have so much grip, I usually start pretty high with them, about 30s or so.
So 30s, explain me in the bars.
2 bar. So I usually start about 2 bar in the tire, and we'll bleed down from there depending on the track. Some tracks we actually go up a little bit. Just kind of depends on the track. On the track and how gripped the car is for it.
Because I'm also this year was trying to use Achilles, but just 265.
265s, yeah. It's still a lot of grip.
No, actually it's a good tires.
Yeah.
So that tires works. And for next season, we was also talking with friends to choose maybe Baleno.
Balenos, yeah. I haven't run on those yet. Yeah.
I haven't run. I hear just only, and I saw that guys is really grippy. But I think so it can be like too much grip because and also that tires is expensive ones. So Japanese don't give you like a really good price or something. No. I was trying to buy the whole container, just cooperate some drivers and buy a whole container. But that's not worked up. It was around more than $100 per tire. Yes. So it was not cheap choice. But everybody now is looking for grip everywhere. Start from the suspension kit and goes to the tires. Because I'm also driving Nissan. I'm gonna show you when we go somewhere to sit. So some presentation. So in that reason, I'm using 2GZ.
2GZ, okay.
I have a 7050 horsepower, and I also was discussing because we have kind of big turbo. I use BorgWarner. And I asked my tuner what we're gonna do, because I was having really late phase of camshafts.
Yeah.
It was, I think so, 279 or something.
It's a big camshaft.
Yes, you see, for serious. I was preparing that engine for serious horsepower, but you don't need it.
No,
so, so this I just ordered 272.
Okay, yeah, a bit
So
smaller.
a bit smaller, and it works, and big turbo. And I was all the times I need to drive on like high RPMs.
Yeah, you have to keep it high.
Yes,
yeah.
and from just only 5,500, my engine started working.
Yeah.
And I'm using sequential gearbox, so that's cool stuff. Just only keep it, and your style when driving, you cannot let it go.
No, you have to stay in it.
To the full throttle.
The nitrous is definitely a big help for that, because you can, get off throttle for a long period of time if you have to. For if there's a mistake, you have to hold the handbrake for a little longer.
Yep.
Flat rev it, let go, and it's all there. It's ready to go.
I was also thinking about dry sump, but I'm not sure.
It's the kit we went with, Daily Engineering. They're out of California. They build these super awesome kits. The whole entire oil pan is billet, and it has all the channels built inside of the oil pan. So there's no lines under the car or anything
Just
like that. Everything is inside the pan. And then the oil pump itself is 3 stages, and then our 4th stage is actually got an air oil separator built into the pump.
Yep.
So when it pulls all the oil from the bottom of the engine, sends it back, it actually separates it right there at the pump. So that way the tank, the oil is not very like frothy or aerated. So that was a super cool thing that they had for that.
Which oil do you use?
AMSOIL, it's like a 1550, the Dominator race oil. Yep. And been with them now for 2 seasons, and even before I was with them for sponsorship, we always just ran the AMSOIL in the cars.
And it's good ones. Did you have some issues with your engine?
This beginning of the year, I think it happened at the end of last year and we didn't catch it. I thought we just lifted the cylinder head, but I guess it ended up turning out being that the cylinder head had cracked. Inside the exhaust ports around the valve guides, it's a very thin wall by a coolant channel. And so it cracked there and kept mixing in the oil because it would drop in, running past the valves.
Smoking.
A bit of smoking when it started up and everything. So, it went through, we changed the gasket. I was like, oh, something else is wrong. We changed the short block. Unfortunately, we put the same head on a new short block on this one here, and then had the same issue in Atlanta. So we ended up bringing the Skyline up to Atlanta for FD, and I ran that just to finish the round. Came back, and the first thing I did was pull the head off and just go everywhere through it, and was able to find just tiny little cracks in the porting itself that was dropping the coolant in. So since then I've put, this head is literally just completely stock casting, has just Tomei Ponchem 256 in it. Yep. With Supertech valve springs, retainers, still hydraulic lifters, everything, and it made the exact same power as the old head, which was CNC ported, as well as bigger 270 cams.
It's sometimes if it's work done well, it's good. It's there somewhere what needs to.
It made all the same peak numbers, because the turbo we're pretty much at the peak limit already. So it made all the same power as before, but about 1800 RPM sooner. So everything came in super early, so it was just so much nicer to drive, so much easier, more responsive. Even with the nitrous, everything just kind of came in earlier, so it was super nice to have that. And since then, all everything I've done is literally just change the oil and put gas in the car, and it's super happy.
First Y-Swap kit, or I don't?
This is a V2 kit.
Yeah, V2 kit, because from last year I started also use a V2 kit.
Yeah.
It's like way much more angle.
Much nicer.
And also steering rack goes in a other position.
Yeah, move the rack forward.
And it's before it in Lithuania, steering racks from Nissan, it was like really hard to find it, and the last year I found a brand new one. So we're relocated, and it really works. And this one, it's like, why you use this one?
We modified that sway bar. That's the one I've had for a few years. When I was on the V1 Y-Swap, I also ran the same sway bar. It's a good friend of mine, Nate, from a company called Bink Industries here in the States. He makes these custom sway bars that he builds for like pro cars, have high angle clearance, everything. And so I've had that on the car for a couple of years, and so we just modified the Y-Swap to accept that sway bar.
So it's comfortable for you left side?
I can go drift really both sides. Right hand side I've been doing a lot more. All the competitive stuff I've always done has always been right hand drive. But to jump back and forth I can get used to pretty easy. It takes me a little bit now to get used to left side. As I'm so much more comfortable on the right side, but after a couple laps I can kind of jump back and forth. It's not too bad.
And what is the weight of the car?
The car with me in it, we are in the 3,000 pounds, so 15 1400 Ks or 1400 kilo.
My car is 1,150 kilos, and I will reduce my weight to less. We don't have a rule like yours
with the tire size.
The tire size.
Yeah.
So the main question, we also with our friends discussed the 350Z chases. We thought it's like too big one, because we were discussing and so on. The Forsberg uses like for many years. So you think it's like it's better to use than S14 or S13?
I don't have too much drive time in it to really compare. We have a shop 350Z that we kind of help with, like the ISR performance company, and I've driven that one now just once, and it feels very similar. But I need more time to really kind of dial it in and see. You know, with us being a parts company and all that, we want to do the advertising. So obviously these cars are getting so old now, we need to kind of move into the new market. And now the 350Zs and 370Zs are getting so cheap. It's kind of, I think, now the stepping stone for when people are going to start buying them to build, because there's only so many of these left. You know, people are buying them and, you know, driving them, making race cars with them, wrecking them and everything like that. And they're getting old. Some, you know, and like other countries are just rusting away, and you can't even keep them together. So you have to move to the new chassis at some point, because eventually you're not going to be able to get it anymore.
You know, it's to find like in really good condition S13.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, S13 on your guys' side is difficult to find. Yeah.
Yep. I have a story. After the 10 years, I just came out here, and I was working travel student from Europe. And the first summer I bought in the States, when I was working in the bar. I was like a bar back, and I bought a Chevy Camaro. It's an old one. Yeah. So it was like cool to drive. And the second year was summer was coming back, and I bought my first 246 like this one. Yeah. And I came here. I was like poor student and so on. I was working, adding like tips and so on, and I started to improve it. I thought I went to the junkyard, I found the same one, and I bought the full exhaust system, the car sound, the like with wheels, like real, And the sad story was that in the last I borrowed the car for one guy and he like smashed it. Oh, no. But I haven't. In that time, I was not drifting. I was just trying to somewhere. Just was doing, because in drift I'm just only like 3 years with something. It's gonna be like my 4th season. The next one.
But yeah, this will be the chassis for 2021. This is the one we picked up.
This one, yes.
Yep. Yeah. So right now it's just we bought it from a friend. It's just a car that he bought from auction that he started to fix back together. Still runs, drives, everything. It's just you know, was in front end collision, so we bought it, we inspect everything. The frame's got just minor little bend to it, but it's in the front where we'll probably cut anyway and for tubing. So